material.
Well, a push to expand health coverage for low-income pregnant women in Utah is not moving forward.
We have to accept responsibility for people who are already being paid through their work or through the federal program. It just is a super expensive way of doing policy.
Lawmakers voted down that proposal even as doctors and child advocates pleaded with them to do something. There was another part of this bill that would continue funding from hospitals for an earlier expansion of Medicaid in Utah. The lawmaker hopes to come back and get that passed at least before the session ends. That happens in less than a month.
Well, the impact counterpart yesterday.
A 92-year-old woman from Utah is making waves. Guinness World Record has named Duan Young the world's oldest female water skier.
It has been crazy, actually, because it was such a surprise. I just couldn't believe it, actually.
Well, her granddaughter secretly contacted Guinness World Record, and the whole family surprised her with her certificate at a Christmas party. Now, she tells me she was just 30 years old when she picked up the sport. Her family had bought a cabin at Bear Lake where they go every summer. Through a lot of trial and error, Young went from skiing on 2 skis to the slalom. She credits her grandkids for pushing her to never give up.
Now, at my age, I'm getting out of the water on 2 and just dropping 1. It's the air flowing and the exhilaration. It's just a very fun, exciting sport.
Well, Young says she trains year-round just to make sure she's ready for those summer trips to Bear Lake with her family. She walks hills, she plays tennis twice a week, and she does water aerobics. And guys, get this, her grandkids, they would like her to try surfing, but she tells me that she's pretty content with water skiing right now. She's good.
She's got the wetsuit, too. I mean, that's smart at Bear Lake.
I'm sure she could nail
smart.
it. She could do surfing.
Yeah,
but
I bet she could.
She's an incredible woman.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, man, making us feel like we need to get out there and do some surfing, do some water skiing, but it is a little chilly.
It's just 40 minutes from Provo. Lori. Amy, thank you. One Utah woman isn't slowing down, especially when it comes to water skiing. She's really serious about this. How she made it into the record books.
It seems like Usher won't only be hitting the nets.
A 92-year-old woman from Utah is making waves. Guinness World Records has named Duan Young the world's oldest female water skier.
It's been crazy, actually, because it was such a surprise. I just couldn't believe it, actually.
Well, her granddaughter secretly contacted Guinness World Records, and the whole family surprised her with her certificate at a Christmas party. She tells me she was 30 years old when she picked up the sport. Her family had bought a cabin at Bear Lake where they go every summer now. She credits her grandkids for pushing her to never give up.
Now, at my age, I'm getting out of the water on 2 and just dropping 1. It's the air flowing and the exhilaration. It's just a very fun, exciting sport.
Young says she trains year-round just to make sure she's ready for those summer trips to Bear Lake. She walks hills, plays tennis twice a week, and she does water aerobics. Her grandkids would really like her to try surfing, but she tells me that she's content with water skiing. Lori.
She is adorable. Congratulations. Utah Highway Patrol says rain
School district coming up.
Utah lawmakers look to make some changes to the state's first-time homebuyer program.
Of Utah's elections.
Utah lawmakers eyeing some changes to the state's new first-time homebuyers program. They say making some tweaks here will help more people get into their own homes. News specialist Daniel Woodruff joined us live right now. Details on this. Hi, Daniel.
Center around just how much house you're allowed to buy under the program, and then what happens if you refinance down the road to get a lower rate. Now, right now under this program, Utahns, first-time buyers, are allowed to get up to $20,000 that they could use toward a number of things like down payment or closing costs if they buy a new home that costs $450,000 or less. But under Senate Bill 168, if it passes, there would be more flexibility for the state to adjust that purchase price based on the type of housing and the location.
In places where housing might be a little bit more expensive, a little bit less expensive, we want to make sure that there's flexibility so that we can move those dollars out the door and get more people in homes.
The bill would also allow future buyers who refinance to get a lower rate to not have to pay back their assistance if they use a lender who is participating with the state. Now, the bill making these changes passed out of a Senate committee this afternoon unanimously. That's the first step toward it becoming law. Utah Senate President said he supports these changes. He says he hopes that this program will do more to incentivize cities to allow smaller lots so that more starter homes can be built in Utah. At the Capitol, Daniel Woodruff, live at 5.
Yeah, could possibly help a lot of families out there. Daniel, thank you. When we come back, Kevin Eubank.
You're watching KSL News at 6.
Utah's new first-time home buyer program could soon be changing. That program gives buyers up to $20,000 for a down payment, closing costs, or paying down their interest rate.
Yeah, lawmakers taking the first step today here, adjusting some of the rules here, which they hope will put more people into homes of their own. This specialist Daniel Woodruff now with the story.
Utah's first-time homebuyer program isn't very old, but state leaders are already trying to tweak it.
It's just really designed to get more money out the door faster to people who need it.
The program is currently limited to new homes costing $450,000 or less, but Senator Lincoln Fillmore wants to add some flexibility. Senate Bill 168 would allow the state to adjust the max price based on the type of housing and where it's being bought.
We recognize that just one price limit of $450,000 doesn't work in all cities and all counties.
David Damshin runs Utah Housing Corporation, which administers the program. Do you anticipate changing these numbers soon?
Fairly soon. In places like Salt Lake City, we need something north of $450,000. What that might be, $500,000, I don't know, but we're having those discussions now.
Right now, the program also requires buyers who refinance early to pay back any assistance they've received. But this bill would change that as long as they use a lender who's participating with the state.
We're not penalizing as rates are coming down. It's a great thing for home ownership that rates come down, and we hope they continue to fall.
According to new data, the first-time homebuyer program has served more than 600 families so far, their homes costing on average just over $381,000, with much of the activity happening in Saratoga Springs, Spanish Fork, Magna, Eagle Mountain, and Riverton.
Home ownership is so important, and it's a part of our well-functioning society. It still is the American dream. We just want to make sure that remains affordable to people.
At the Capitol, Daniel Woodruff, KSL 5 News.
Thank you, Daniel. Utah lawmakers are also working to pass multiple resolutions in honor of Salvadorians, Pacific Islanders, and refugees. All three resolutions are showing promising results during this year's legislative session. One of the resolutions celebrates Utah's history of welcoming refugees. It passed in the House unanimously. It refers to Utah's long history of multicultural refugees. These resolutions offer no spending. They're just meant as a message of welcome and support.
Head over to Kevin right now. Kevin, my windshield.